Hi readers, welcome back to my channel, Lila Wanders and Reads. Lee here, and welcome to my weekend books. Now, despite the fact that I had two back-to-back DNFs, I still consider this an excellent reading week. I finished 5 books, one of which was very short, but I counted anyway. So, let's get started, shall we? I started off the week on a high. I read The Ghost Woods by C.J. Cooke, which has inspired a book talk for tomorrow on mushrooms and fungi and toadstools. Oh my. I adored this book. I love it when a book makes me question reality, and there are points in here where I did not know what was going on. I believe this is a British edition of this book. I ordered it from Amazon, so it took a minute to get here, and it came in a little worse for the wear. But in this, Pearl Gorham arrives at Lycan Hall in 1965. It's a home for unwed mothers, and she will give birth there and then go on about her life. But something else is going on, and there's some darkness in here, and it is, you can tell from the cover, fungi related. I really love the storytelling. She kind of gives away the plot early on, but I didn't catch it. I didn't catch the significance. If you're smarter than me or a different kind of reader than me, maybe you will. I loved this so much that I went out and bought all of C.J. Cooke's books. And I think I did a video on that too. Anywho. Next up, I wanted to stay in the UK, and in fact, most of these books are set in or written by UK authors. In fact, 4 of them are written by authors from the UK. That's C.J. Cooke, Emily Critchley, The Undoing of Violet Claybourne. This is going in my best of the year stack. I adored this book. I realize my memories of that winter are hazy and out of focus. If I am to remember, to truly remember, I must go back to the very beginning. I must remember not only the glamour, the decadence, and the sense of wanting so desperately to belong, but also the darker side of our story, what really happened during that winter break. Only then will I know what to do with the letter. Gillian Larking gets invited home to by her friend Violet Claybourne and for the Christmas holidays, because Gillian does not have any family in the UK. I think her father lives in Egypt with his new wife and child, and her mother is long since passed. This is set in 1938, but it's set in 2 timelines. It starts off in one timeline in the present, and then it ends that way as well. At one point during this book, I set the book down and wept. This book was so fucked up in all the best ways. It is about toxic female friendships. It is about manipulation and gaslighting. And I can't recommend this book, especially with this cover, the UK cover, enough. This book comes out in March, I believe. In the U.S., the U.S. edition has a different cover. I feel like the U.S. artist did not read the same book I did, because this, to me, reflects the insides of the book much better. Except, okay, I can't really talk about this without in depth with, why are my bookmarks still in here? Without any spoilers, but probably every so many pages, 100 pages or so, I'd be like, what? Thrilling, fuck me up. There is something that happens in here that I usually don't like, but it was perfect for this book. It is the reason I set it down and wept. I would love to do a standalone review, but I cannot do that without spoilers. One of the best books of the year, hands down, 5 stars. Next up, and I've got to make a correction. On Wednesday, I will post a standalone review for PH Newby's Something to Answer For. This is part of my Booker Prize winning project. And in that video, I said Britain, France, and Ireland conspired to take the Suez Canal from Egypt. That's wrong. I should have said Britain, France, and Israel. I guess I had Ireland on the brain. Part of that is because Townrow in here does not know if he's British or Irish, and that's a big thing. So I guess I had Ireland on the brain. My apologies to Ireland and the Irish. You had nothing to do with the Suez Canal crisis. But that said, it's 1956, and Townrow is in Port Said. Of these 2 facts, he's reasonably certain. He'd been summoned by the widow of his deceased friend, Eli Corey. She's convinced Eli was murdered, but no one seems to agree with her. What about Leah Strauss, the mistress, and invading British paratroops? Only an Englishman would take for granted that the British have behaved themselves. Spoiler alert, the British did not behave themselves. This was a difficult book for me to read in some ways. I talk about it more in the standalone review. But I learned so much history that I did not know, and had I not done the preparation for that and boning up on that history, I would have been lost in the sauce. But I still give this 3 stars. I enjoyed it to some extent. Newby is great at setting the scene. I could see every place that Townrow was. That's all I'm going to say about that, because I'd really like you to read or watch my other review. So after that come my DNFs, back to back. After Something to Answer For, I really needed something light and fun, not something I would have to work at. So I picked up a book I had pre-ordered, Wake Up and Open Your Eyes by McLeod Chapman. Now, I had gone on Amazon prior and read good reviews and bad reviews, and this is kind of QAnon, Great Reawakening based in theory, and I guess in actuality too. But the best word I can use to describe this is absurd. I thought that people would have issue with McLeod Chapman's politics, and they still may down the road. On Amazon, there's always somebody mad if you talk bad about conservatives or right-wing or fanaticism, but that is not the issue I had with this book at all. I mean, he could have changed the news channel and made it something not Facts News, but whatever. It was just absurd. That's the only word I can use to describe it. I don't want to spoil anything for you. You can read reviews on your own, and you can make up your own mind if you like it. This may work for somebody, not for me. But here's the best example I can give to why this was so repellent to me. I used to follow McLeod Chapman on some of the socials, and sometimes I still see him reposted. And in one video, he was running around a bookstore just very, very frenetic, screaming and you know, just all over the place. And that was kind of a turnoff for me. It's the complete opposite of my personality in public. There's nothing wrong with that. Everybody is different. If that's his personality, some people like that. But all I could think was, if I was in a bookstore and somebody was, you know, ah! and ran up to me like that, I would push them away physically, because it's just not me. And that's how this book read. It was all over the place. And it's like he was trying to intentionally make it gross or make a parody of something, but it's just, I've read much better parodies, and this was just did not work for me. So I put that aside, and I picked up An Education in Malice by S.T. Gibson. This is a retelling of Carmilla, which I read and enjoyed last week. No, this was a no-go. And for this, it was the exact opposite of Wake Up and Open Your Eyes. I was bored by this. It didn't flow with me. Let me stop too for a second. Would I go back later and pick this up and reread it or try to reread it again? Absolutely not. This one, maybe, because it could just be the mood that I was in after that. But I just couldn't. I decided I wasn't going to bother. If I was already bored and I don't think I got 50 pages in, and I was like, I don't care. I don't care. And I thought maybe I don't like books set in academia, but that is completely wrong, because this was, and some other books that I really like were. So, I went on to something that I knew would be a go. It is also, sorry, a little bit of prep for a video I'm going to post tomorrow, and that is books about fungi. So I reread Earthstar Magic by Ruth Chew. So cute. In this, the kids, Trudy and Ben, find an Earthstar mushroom and a witch. The only dislike I had in this is Ben was all against witches, because witches are all bad, blah, blah, blah. There are some bad witches in here, but overall, enjoyable, cute read. One thing I like about Ruth Chew is she writes simply, but she does not talk down to the reader. So the reader has to not read up, but it's not, I hate a chapter book that talks to the reader like they're not capable of reading. I just hate one that talks down to a reader. Anyway, so finish that up. It did take me a night and then a morning, but because I had DNF'd, I spent so much time on those DNFs that I couldn't finish it in one night like I should have been able to. What I did finish in one night, Saturday night, was Begin Again by Helly Acton. Now, I did have a little bit of trouble getting going at the very beginning of this. In this, Frankie dies and has to make a decision and choose which life she wants to continue on. She gets a choice. But I had a little bit of a rough going, and I was like, I don't know if I even like Frankie. And then I got to this line. But Frankie's inner demons paint dark, false pictures sometimes. And from that point on, I was hooked. I ended up loving this so much that I pushed to finish it last night. I'm recording this on a Sunday. It was fantastic. I really loved it. Some people complained and said, oh, the ending is predictable. Okay, I'm okay with that. What I liked about this, as opposed to the Husbands, is in the Husbands, Frankie was kind of looking for love in this. In the Husbands, I don't know. It felt like she was forced to make a choice of some stranger that she didn't even really know. Whereas Frankie's choice is really about herself. And I loved that. I really enjoyed this book. It's not going to go down as one of the best books of the year, but it was a good read. So, on audio, I am still listening to Bolivar. I'm not very far in that. I have today taken a pause to listen to some podcasts for some Booker prep work that I'm doing for my next Booker read, which will be Prophet Song by Paul Lynch. Not ready to get into it yet. I'm going to finish my prep work. So this will take me a while to listen to. I'm only on chapter 4, so I'm somewhere in here. Also, I am a little bit delayed in my purse book, The Unwomanly Face of War. I'm still enjoying this. I just haven't picked it up for a few days because I was reading Begin Again, and I had... Instead of taking this to my hair appointment, I took Something to Answer For because I really was trying to push through and finish that, and I'm glad I did. Even though I was completely baffled at what was going on, and my hairstylist, I think, thought that I was mad at her, but I wasn't. I was frustrated because I didn't know what the hell was going on and Something to Answer For. Anywho, I ended up enjoying it for a lot of reasons that I talk about later, not in this video. Next up for me, I'm going to be reading Kirsten Bakis's King Nix. Let's see what it's about. I did not bring my glasses to record this, so... A haunting mystery about lost girls and the woman driven to find them. She wrote the contemporary classics Lives of the Monster Dogs, which I'd not heard of. Anywho, Anna Fort wants to be a supportive wife, even if that means accompanying her husband for the winter of 1918 to a remote frozen island estate so he can finish his book as the guest of an eccentric millionaire. When she learns 3 girls are missing from a school run by their host, Anna realizes finding them is up to her, even if it means risking her husband's career and possibly her life. Her husband's masterpiece in progress features strange meteorological anomalies along with wild speculations about facts. He believes scientists hide from the public. Most people think Charles Fort is a crackpot. That's about to change now that wealthy Claude Arkell is his patron. Yet Anna is sure something's not right on Prosper Island, though the alarming return of her troubles makes her question her own sanity. Is the figure in the woods really the ghost of her long-lost friend Mary, or a product of her disturbed imagination? Accompanied reluctantly by a fellow guest, the elegant and troubled Stella Bixby, Anna embarks on a dangerous quest to find the missing girls before Arkell finds her, or her own mind unravels. The reason, so I've got a stack of books that I picked up and chosen for my TBR for this month, that they are subject to change, and Prophet Song is up there. That is going to be one I do read. But I picked this up, and the reason I chose this of the 4 that I had selected was this first line. Last night I dreamed my husband came back. And then from there I kept on reading, and it was like, okay, this is it. That's it. Anywho, I've been a bit of a mess this time. Not sure why. I think I do a better job, except for my big faux pas in my book review on Something to Answer For. And stay tuned tomorrow, where I'm going to be talking about mushrooms in literature. That is all for me. Thank you for sticking with me on this journey, and happy reading.